Well, unfortunately, they don't let us out of the office much anymore. And so when we like show up on site in our bathing suits and our little floaties, and we're like, guys, we're ready to ride this slide, and we look all pasty because we've been in the office. Welcome back to the Aquatic Perspective by Sunbelt Pools. Last week, we met with Drew and Brian from Splashtacular, and today we're going to pick up where we left off in that conversation. So this will be part 2 of our conversation with Splashtacular. If you didn't listen to us last week, go back and check out that episode. It was great, but right now, going to pick right up where we left off.
So let's go back just real quick because and again, I think that most operators in the industry know who Splashtacular is. I want to dive in, just personal, give a little bit of backstory and how you guys got involved in the industry and specifically with Splashtacular.
You know, I'll start this off. So, I was working for a steel company, and we were building the steel towers for Splashtacular, and so I had did a lot of collaboration with the Splash team, and I was very fortunate to get offered a job about 15 years ago, and so. From there, I started as a project manager, and it's for me. I got to learn so many different things, and not only did I find my industry and the career, but the people and the friendships around us. Those are it's hard to even put a value on that because that's been worth every bit of it. So
you and I really got. I mean, I remember early on we've been doing work from even before you joined Splash, but you and I found out just recently you and I are very similar age. I thought you were older than me, but I'm the old guy. I'm the old guy in this room. At any rate, we you and I got to grow up in the industry together, and it's really cool. I mean, because at the time I was a PM on projects. You were a PM on projects. We rode slides together early on in our careers. We got to have fun. So
and it's so funny you say that because that's what it's all. That's where the relationships have started and just continually built. My first project that I was on as a PM, University Park, Texas, Bob Word, and I tell you, I learned so much from Bob Word on that project, and. Not only did I learn stuff, but I just learned more about just business in general and how to handle things. And Bob was big. He told me one thing is, a big thing is you told me what you're going to do, and you came down here and you fixed it, and that's worth every bit of it. And that comment has stuck with me my whole career because Bob instilled that in me that day. That was just like you're so right. People just want to be able to be told what they're going to do and have somebody follow through.
Yeah, just for clarity, Bob Word's PM that's been with Sunbelt Pools for 30 years, I think.
And it's incredible because this Pflugerville project, Bob's the project manager on it. And man, it's just so cool how you remember things from when you first started with the organization. And here we are so many years later. And, thank God some of those same people are still working here, but you're still working there. So like that longevity and that is where we're able to create true meaningful relationships. I mean, we don't have to like each other, but I actually like these guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Like they're good dudes to hang out with. I mean, I don't know if they'd say the same about me when the mics are off, but
we're here because we wanted to.
You're on the mic now, so you better say nice things.
No, but there's a testament to that. Look at all of us. We all, 15 years ago, and it's like we're still having this conversation because, hey, have we gone through tough jobs and good jobs? Absolutely, but that is what has allowed us to weather this.
And it's so much more. I mean, I've talked to you guys when some crazy things in life have been happening to me. Y'all are some of like the first people that I would talk to, or that I would even feel comfortable saying certain things to, because it does go beyond that business relationship. Like there's an amount of respect there where it's like I could say something to this person like that, like they are my friend because you are my friends, and there's. To me, that's just an incredible way to, like, when I send an email to Drew that I need a quote on something, it's short and to the point or whatever, but, we might hop on the phone and talk for 20, 30 minutes,
right.
About life and stuff like that when we both have a little bit of time. And I love that.
Yeah.
There's something about working with like grown folks, right? To handle their stuff, right? I always say that. But the reality is we do construction projects, and no construction project ever goes without a hitch.
Right.
I always say that, like, man, I'm going to be in some like podunk, middle of nowhere America, right? I'm going to be working on a project with like one place to eat, there's nothing else. You're staying in a budget 8 motel or something like that. I just want to work with people that I actually enjoy working with.
Right.
That are not going to throw us under the bus. That we're going to like, hey, we're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to do this together.
Yeah.
Like we're going to fix it. And we're all going to suffer in this little tiny town together. Like we're have some fun. Like we're going to make it what it is. Right. Those are the things that matter. Like we're going to have to like kind of sometimes deal with some crap, but I'd rather do it with people that I enjoy spending time with, right?
The more the merrier when you're in misery, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get to play at a nice golf course tomorrow, but it's like more about like I get to play with some friends.
That's right.
That makes it easy.
For sure.
It's a no-brainer for us.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Drew, where'd you come from?
Oh, man. So I laughed because I have a very eclectic background, and I don't even know if you guys know this. So like Brian and I got introduced because I taught his son martial arts. So I own and run a karate school. And I also don't know if you're the oldest. Are you the oldest in here when you said that?
44.
I'm 44. When you turn 45?
November.
August. Bam. All right.
You win.
Gotcha. All right. Sorry.
Nobody's
I said that. Okay. So Brian brought his kid in to start teaching. I was doing a bunch of different things. Like I was a partner in a software firm. We were also doing a sand volleyball tournament. And he actually was like, hey, would you ever be interested in selling water slides? And I was like, nope. And then like,
lame.
Like, what? No. I'm like, that's
I don't do parts.
Yeah. So like, so then he
I'm imagining the Greatest Showman conversation right now.
Yeah. So then like a couple months later, he hit me back up. He's like, hey, I know you're doing your own thing. Would you ever? And like, he just caught me in like a day where like, things were just like shit. Right. It's a bad day. And I was like, man, I don't know. And my wife was like, you should go talk to him about it. And I was expecting to hear a bunch of things. And then, him and I chatted and I was like, man, like sounds like some good stuff. Like, and then he was like, what do you think about coming down? We came down. I was expecting to hear some other things and it was all good. And then he was like, what about meeting the team? I was like, sure. Thinking that, there was going to be, the rug was going to be pulled out from underneath me. And like I went in there and like I was in there for like 2 hours and had like a great conversation with like the Alex and Anita and all them and like all the team. And I was like, man, like I was actually like kind of jazzed. And I was like, no background in construction, no background building anything like that. Like I was like, there is no way in this world. And then he called and he's like, I don't know if that could have went any better. And I was like, what? It's like, what? So so July will be 7 years. And
That's
like,
right.
like when my kids were like, wait, you ride water slides? That's what you do?
For a living.
Like, yeah. I was like, it's pretty cool.
Now, I have to tell you guys, Drew left a big part of this out. When we were at martial arts class, I specifically stood up because I was sweating profusely. And I stood up and I said, Drew, do you need an HVAC guy in here? Like, can we get some temperature control? He goes, hey, with all due respect, sir, trying to get the kids acclimated. So we sweat, we do all this. And so I really thought Drew just didn't know an HVAC guy. So I was willing to call some contractors.
He's in the back watching his kids just melting. And he's,
wait a second. Drew was respectful? With all due respect, sir.
I probably didn't say it like that. Yeah.
But no, I was willing to hook him up with a contractor. So.
Yeah. No. So I still like to sweat. It's good. It's good for the body. Yeah.
And Drew, tell me what you're at this point. You're vice president of what's
sales.
Vice president of sales. And Brian, you're at
I'm Splashtacular's president.
Yeah, for the last 2 years.
Yeah. So coming up on 2 years this November.
Yeah. And then Alex was president prior, still CEO.
That's right. Yep. Alex is our CEO currently. And,
and Alex also a huge mentor of mine growing up in industry.
He's a great guy in this industry, and he's been a mentor of Drew and I's for our whole career. And we're sad to see him go. He's a phenomenal guy, and he's earned every bit of retirement though.
Sure.
So I think he's looking forward to maybe doing some fishing and all that.
Yeah, he'll find that time.
Yeah, he's been a great mentor as even his transition out.
Yeah, that's great.
Robert, did you say you had some trivia?
I do.
Yeah.
All right. So first and this is going to be before both of y'all's time, so it's going to be tough.
All right.
So Sunbelt started our first commercial swimming pool slide. Does anybody know which project that was?
So in your podcast, you said 2003 was your first commercial pool that you built.
Yeah.
All right. So it's got to be after that.
It is. So we did
2010?
Louisville Sun Valley Aquatic Center and 2005, 2006 opening was the very first.
And that was Splashtacular?
And that was Splashtacular.
Wow.
That is, that's the first project that we did together.
2000.
Second one, Bad Koningshofen Park in Arlington,
Texas.
Yeah,
that's right.
So both of those were both of the back-to-back projects. First two projects that we did together. Now it was a different leadership team at that point in time.
Yeah,
we were and I would say that I had a different way to ask this question before, but I don't like the way that it would have been answered now. So after, and this was even before, I thought you had started before, Brian. So this question's may throw you off a little bit. At what point in time did you guys really transition from I would say a product company to more of a customer service oriented company? So it was right around the time that you guys started. Huge project that you guys did in Texarkana.
Yeah, so that would have been right around that 2012, 2013 time frame. And that 2014 was a big transitional year for us.
Yeah,
definitely.
Myself, Alex, Anita, we were in a conference room for days upon days trying to find ourselves, literally trying to create core values. And so that was a big transformation in that year. So yeah, that 2012 to 2014 corridor.
Yeah. So that Texarkana job opened up in 2013. Yep. So that was really that I would put that as that really where y'all transitioned from a aquatic attractor that was building a product to really changing into, just a customer service machine.
So it's awesome to hear because, at the end of the day, like I mentioned earlier, we don't turn our head to anything. Last thing we want to do is sell a job and deliver a job and have to turn our head to that or not take somebody to it or reference it because that's not what it's about. And so if anything, we go above and beyond to try to make sure that they are satisfied and we did meet their expectations and it met that end goal. And we can take people there, reference it and all that because that's what it's about. You know, we want to build this thing for years.
We're not like delivering a box at your doorstep and be like, all right,
see ya,
have fun. Like we want them to enjoy that. We want it to last, but we also want them to the next renovation, the next expansion. In the municipal space, like those guys move and those ladies move all over the country. So they have a good experience with us and like they have a good experience with Sunbelt. Who do you think that first call is going to be? That's right. What we want it to be.
Exactly.
And we've talked several times, even in this podcast, of once you're in aquatics, you're not leaving.
Yeah.
So every customer, it is probably not the last project that we're building together.
Well, and I think the thing that we've all learned is not the way. It's not all the problems that you have or run into on a project that you're judged by. It's how you respond to all those problems on the projects. And one thing that I've really appreciated over the years with both Brian and Drew is that, we've all four of us right here have been going from where we were to where we are today in our respective companies. And I feel like there's a lot of times where we're doing that almost at the exact same time.
Yeah, we're all growing together.
And so like Sunbelt has like its deficiencies in a few areas, and those are magnified when we kind of get together. And it's like, oh, okay, what are we missing here? And there's been times where I've been on the phone with both Brian and Drew, and just the openness of the conversations that we've been able to have to be like, okay, we want to grow. We want it to be great for both of us. What do we do to make it great together?
Yeah,
couldn't agree more. What I always appreciated is you guys give us candid feedback. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing is delivering bad news. And we appreciate that because we can't make things different. We can't change things unless we know it. And that's what I've always appreciated about you guys. If you're just transparent and you deliver it in a professional way. But hey, if we have issues, we want to know about it too because we don't want to repeat those. Nobody wants to have those conversations.
We also have to respect with each other to like, hey, you guys sucked at this, right?
Yeah, no, that's right.
Like,
it's candid.
That's okay. No, that's the thing is sometimes it like we don't. Your email, it's short sometimes. Like, but that's like everything's going at us at a million paces, and I understand it's like you guys build pools. It's like we're not doctors or anything, but like it is a fast pace. We've got budgets and timelines and all the things going on, but we can't have that conversation of like, hey, this is the goof. How are we going to fix it? Right. And we can have that conversation candidly and we can have that conversation without feelings getting hurt. And it's like, hey, we'll own our piece. You guys own your piece and let's do it together.
Well, a full year should not go by without there's going to be issues, right? So if a full year goes by and there hasn't been at least 1 or 2 come to Jesus meetings where it's like, hey, we didn't do it right here, but we got to make sure we do it right on the next one. Don't you agree?
Oh,
couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate is it doesn't matter what titles we wear. We are all in those conversations because it
100%.
matters. And that's what I've always appreciated about even our company, your company. Nobody really cares about titles.
Right.
We would all be the first one to grab a broom, and we'll all be the first one to do our respective jobs. And that's what I've appreciated. It's just we want to collaborate together. And
in some cases, we'd much rather be riding water slides than sitting in an office, right?
Since you brought this up, I had a question for you. Your favorite water slides, gentlemen?
There was one, oh my gosh. Did y'all do Did they do Pflugerville? Come on. Not Pflugerville, sorry. What is it? Roanoke.
I won't take offense to it.
Which one?
The Roanoke, the big...
It was a
red,
Hawaiian Falls.
Yes.
Hawaiian Falls.
Yes.
I thought
double
so.
bullseye. Yes.
Yeah,
I was
the first bullseye.
Yes, I was a PM on that one. And what was that, a 60-foot tall tower?
Yeah, 58.
Yes,
you get the rumble guts. You get the
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was the timeline on that to get that thing erected was ridiculous, and you guys made it happen. But I remember the first time walking up to the top, and at the time I was probably like 28 or 29. I don't think I could do it at 40. That thing was just massive. But
well, you certainly wouldn't walk away without having some
ride it again.
Yeah,
nope. Not going up those stairs.
Yeah,
but that's
a young man's game.
Yeah. That's the most memorable one to me because it was the tallest one that I was ever a part of and just the fastest paced one that we had to do. So it was cool.
Man, I'm a drop slide guy. So y'all have done, man, and I'm trying to think of I'm trying to place the project, and it's not coming to my mind.
Are you talking like the drop gate one?
No,
Are you talking clean?
Like
well, it's like 6 or 8 foot drop into the water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that would have probably been clean.
Like really high up and it kind of shoots you out.
Yeah, so that would have been a 2012, 2013. Yep. But yeah, I'm a drop slide guy. Those are.
Well, unfortunately, they don't let us out of the office much anymore. And so when we like show up on site in our bathing suits and our little floaties, and we're like, guys, we're ready to ride this slide, and we look all pasty because we've been in the office.
You know, I remember going to a job, Dallas, Texas Bachman.
Yep.
And met Bob out there and Councilman Hunsaker out there, and it was a cold day. And I remember carrying my trunks, and I remember all the Sunbelt employees there. A couple of them were cleaning pools. One was putting some railings in, and one of the guys looks at me and goes, "You're not getting in this water, are you?" I said, "I actually have to ride it. Believe it or not, I got to get the run out sticker." He says, "That is just crazy. Why would you do that?" I mean, it was probably a 50-degree day.
Yeah, I remember.
Why would you do that? Like, it's just part of it, man. And so it was an audience. I had a whole audience because they were just like, "This guy is nuts." So
you get to ride them in the good days and you ride them in the bad days.
There's been a few jobs that I've done some CNTs where I've said some choice words when I hit that water, and I've been like, "Hey, make sure none of the kids are around."
Well, you were telling me a story earlier about when y'all were doing some R&D for the slipstream.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about that.
So we've got 2 different things of this. The original piece of slipstream, Alex actually brought to his house in his backyard.
Yeah.
And they hooked it up. And this was in the summer. And he had like the neighborhood kids like coming over and riding it. And they were just messing around. You know, it's funny because when you hear Alex say this, he goes, in a couple of weeks, they got the slide. They took it back.
Right.
And those kids came over to his house and they were like, "Hey, can we ride your water slide today?"
Alex, is your water park
It's not like it's not staying there.
Yeah. So we had tweaked that design and we were like, "Hey, we've got to test it," right?
Yeah.
So they shipped in, I think 4 pieces, and we mounted it to the parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And we hooked it up to a baby pool with water and everything else. And it was like, "Hey, it's supposed to be like glorious, this week or whatever."
Right.
And then we're in Kansas, so you can imagine we get 4 seasons in a day.
Yeah.
The temperature plummeted, the baby pool froze, so it got above freezing the next day, and we're like, we have to get this done. And so we had to break the ice to get the water going, and we had committed to riding it. So I'm not usually one to back out of much, and so I was like,
challenge accepted.
I will do this. What I didn't know was they were taking pictures of us. So we had our engineering team, we had a PMs, and we had sales, right? For sales. So I did not take my shirt off, which I was glad, but there was a picture of me where the water hit my back on slipstream. This is a high slide. And I was like, like they have that. Then they had an engineer in full rain slicks, with just his feet, and then we had a PM, Josh, on there. So in the picture, you have your engineer in the slicks, you have your PM, Josh, who was on there, was like fell down in the slide, and then you had me with like a squeal. I think I rode that thing twice, and then I was like, I'm out of here. Just ran
going
back inside.
home.
Yeah, I
can tell.
I couldn't get warm like after that, right? There's no way.
But the testing was perfect. We did exactly what we needed to do, and we got everything dialed in and got everything modeled to where we can mimic this and produce it in larger fashion. Yeah. That was huge for us.
Now, had it been a nicer day, we probably got more testing done from more people.
But it was too funny because Alex, multiple days, they come over. Mr. Weidman, is the water park open? Water park?
So when we were talking about design and earlier, I had this thought, like, at what point do you know that something's viable? Like where you're like, okay, we're going to spend some time on this. Here we go.
Oh man. So engineering wise, so I'm going to take fly time for example, right? That's the one that throws you out into the pool, that launches you, however you want to say it. That got brought to us by one of our partners, like one of our like really good industry folks. And he's like, hey, they saw this slide. And he's like, do you think you can do it?
Yeah.
And Alex is like, I don't know, maybe, let's see. Like they took it with the design team and they were looking at pitch, slope, like speed, all that stuff, then the engineering piece of it. So they're doing all the math in the world for this thing to really, and then we put it through, like all of our slides go through like a ride path analysis, right? So they know exactly what the weighted pucks are doing. So we can kind of like, a 200-pound rider, 150-pound rider, those kind of things, right? And you know exactly what
the flow rate.
Yeah, like they're doing all of that in there. So realistically, by the time we get to like starting to do like engineering, or not even engineering, but we're time like fabricating, we already know what this slide's going to be, right? So safety wise, like it looks scary, but there's been so much work done on the forefront of it. Like
front side.
Yeah, right? Like this is, everybody was like, don't you get weird, like scared if you're riding the slide for the first time? And I'm like, in my brain, when I first started, I was like, oh, it's kind of weird. You're walking on a slide and all that stuff. And you could feel it move. I don't know. But then you meet the team and you're like, man, they're engineering these things to last. Like we're building bridges basically.
Sure.
So you kind of get like I don't know, I'm walking my own stuff. Like I feel pretty good about it. Like they're not going to do anything to hurt me. Right. Yeah. So that's the piece that kind of goes like, but I mean, we go through such.
The ride path analysis doesn't stop at the design front. What's super cool that I've always appreciated about this company is that the RPA, abbreviation, ride path analysis. The ride path analysis doesn't stop. Once we get to the job done, we'll go down and ride the slide and certify it. We will actually take that ride data. We'll put accelerometers on there. Cell phones this day has a lot of good app technology as well, but we'll put accelerometers on and we'll get all that exact data, tie it back to the ride path analysis model to make sure that our analysis up front is truly
like practical. A calibration.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So you can almost dial it in then, right?
So
and
flight times, always continuing that.
Yeah, like we tweak, like the length, how the water drains out, like you know your angle that you're shooting them out at, right? Like there's a lot of things that go into that. So and that's the thing is like it's been done and it looks scary. Right, it's a thrill ride, but the thing is like if they knew the engineering in this, the thrill's kind of out of it.
There's it's been all thought through.
Not trying to just launch people in there and hey, good luck.
Yeah.
So it's been neat. So and that's the same thing with Slipstream as well. We went hand in hand on all the different analysis just to make sure that you're poking holes in this whole thing.
Right.
So Slipstream came out when?
Was it the same time as Flight Time?
Yeah. So 2017,
18, something like that.
Probably 18.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. 2019 maybe. And it's such a cool concept because it is truly a skills-based ride.
Yeah.
You take, bad term, commodity water slides, but your body slides, your raft slides, and this is just completely different. This has got a 7-degree slope, so very, very minimal. It's got a very narrow mold. Biggest thing we get is what happens if you fall down? It's such a narrow mold. When you fall down, you kind of just scoot down the sidewall, and it's like I said, it's a 7-degree pitch. So,
for that matter, you can stand back up.
You just kind of pull yourself back up. But we've really pushed that as it's a skills ride because the more you go down it, the better you get. Oh, I found out a little trick there. I'm going to go do it again. Oh, I found out that worked better this time. I'm going to go do it again. So it just makes you want to go back and back and back.
It very much is like sliding on a wax floor with socks on. It's the easiest way to explain it. Like all your weight's on your forearms and you're just scooting.
Now I have to say our marketing team nailed it. I don't know if you guys saw our April Fool's Day post, but we put Slipstream in the Denver International Airport.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I got 3 calls. hey, I didn't know you were putting slides
Oh
in
my
airports.
gosh.
And a couple times I'm like, I chalked up, oh, it was just April Fool's. Then the third call, I'm like, hey, did you look at the date? Did you look at the guy there? We put a business suit in
I
there and
know.
he's getting soaked with water. And it was so funny at those moments because they're like, oh my gosh, I should have put 2 and 2 together. But
Well, you said something funny a second ago, and I know all of us have teenage kids, but you said it's a skill ride. And there's so many times where I do something and my kids will be like, Dad, that's a skill issue. Like that's like, what does that even mean?
Cold-blooded, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded.
Like, man, saying I don't have skills. But it's funny when I heard you say that about the stand-up slide, I hear the same thing from end users about body slides. They'll be like, kids are getting stuck on it. I'm like, yeah, how's the kid riding it? Well, he's just sitting there on his bathing suit.
way to go, Phil.
It's called a body slide, not a butt slide.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, but it's a lot of times it comes down to the ride is built for a certain, there's a reason that there's rules for it and things like that. But there is a certain way to ride it. And a lot of times kids are apprehensive and maybe they're not wanting to ride it so fast, but they want to try so they can, show their parents or their friends or something like that. So what do y'all do to make sure that when you're approached for a project, that you're meeting all demographics as far as age groups go?
In meeting the expectation of the
Yes.
ride.
So, man, that's a loaded question, right? That's
Like, do y'all have when let me rephrase it this way. Let's say an aquatic engineer comes to you and, the landscape architect has shown a few pretty pictures of some other facilities. What are y'all going to do at the very beginning when you have the opportunity to put a package together
gotcha.
to put your best foot forward to be like, oh, I know what would be great for this facility?
Okay. I'm going to start with we're in a meeting with a architect firm, a landscape architect firm, and they were talking about like wanting to build this like crazy APU. And the landscape architect firm brought in a Chat GPT. They're like had Chat GPT like create a play unit in the water, and they were like, we think we want something like this. And I was like, hey. Like no offense, but none of this can be used.
Right.
Like you can't have this. That like kids can't jump off of this. They can't do this. They can't do that. Like this looks cool, but this is not going to happen.
Right.
There's code and everything else. So I think when we start, right, like demographics is like for age is a big thing. Like, because, if you're going in from like 2 to 5, we're talking spray features, little kids don't want stuff dumped on their heads, right? They want things that they can interact with from the ground up, right? And then they get older from like that 5 to 10-year-old, 5 to 11-year-old. They want to be able to run and spray their friends in the face, and kind of act run amok, right? So there's like, you start to that piece, tot slides, your diaper slides is what we like to call them, right? Like they're just made for like minimal water, like little kids. They're probably going to be in their diaper. They're going to be sliding down, right? When you're talking about slides, when you start to get the body slides, family slides are a great starter for that like middle age as well. Body sides, so you're 32 enclosed, open 42. I usually start there because it's 2 experiences. I'm claustrophobic. So like a lot of people like the enclosed 32. It's going to scare them. So translucent bands, that kind of helps.
Yeah.
Open 42 has got that open slide a little bit slower. What people don't get is open 42s and 32s. One is closed, one's open. One can be more aggressive with slope.
Because
you can't throw little Jimmy out the top of the slide, right? So,
which is why it's enclosed.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more speed, aggressive, that kind of thing. Open 42 is it can still be fast, but it's not going to have that I'm going really high on the walls, right?
Which, good.
We start there because that's the greatest part of like, you want 2 body slides. It's a great starter set. Yeah. Right. And they can be big and they can be fast. And there's a couple that we just did that like I took my kids to and like my gut dropped a little bit. My 13-year-old came out and he was like, that one was amazing. And I was like, Dad didn't like that one anymore, right? Like that one kind of messed with me, right? So those are good. But then you're talking about like, all right, let's go to a different demographic, like the tweens, right? The hard to reach, the kids on the phone all the time. Right. We're talking speed. But then the thing that we start to look at is like adding features to that, making it more of an attraction, making it an experience.
Like racing or something.
Yeah, the timing systems, the lighting, the sound, make it
or those translucent bands and things to change it up.
I love the translucent bands because that's you balling on a budget, man.
Yeah, like low cost lighting
changes the whole ride perspective.
And if you spread those out, like you have it like, and then right when you hit those corners, you make them go in a little bit and it plays tricks to your brain. So it makes you really think you're going faster. Those are fun. Translucent shapes, like all of that stuff just gives a different element to the slide. I think that's the stuff. I'm a big believer in the racing components, right? Yep. So the timing, And just I'm competitive by nature.
Right.
Like I love that. If we were going down a slide and all three of you beat me, like I would
Which
lose.
I would.
Yeah. Moving on. So that no, like, but that if you did, like, I'm that person that's like, well, I got to write it again, right?
Yeah,
so
sure we
it's
go.
like you have to do that. Like, and I say that's good for tweens, but we were at a Parks and Rec deal in New Mexico that had that, and it was we hosted a Park and Rec thing in the Core Center there. And for 2 hours, I watched Park and Rec's grown adults, lose their minds trying to be the fastest time. And I mean, they would get up, they'd see the time flash, and they would like, there'd some explicits would come out of their mouth, and then they'd run right back up a 40-foot tower to do it again. That stuff like is fun. Like you see like the kid in it. Like we were just at a show where they said age or fun has no age limit.
I agree.
100%.
So that's like when you do those things and you make Revel Surf, the owner there, used the term stickiness factor. Like it has it just makes you want to do it over and over and over again. I love that term. And I think that's the piece that I always we start with. All right, let's start with basics. Then let's see how we can like make them more, right? But maybe you're just like, hey, we got a sweet lazy river and we got rafts. Let's do a raft ride.
Yeah.
Bedford, man, that slide's amazing. That's like one of my favorite raft rides.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
It is. Yeah. Like I love that slide, man. I rode that thing so much. And
did they put translucent bands in it?
Yeah. It's got like a crazy feel to it, and it's just big, and you just
and you look at the photos of that too, and it's winding around with the lazy river. It's really cool.
Really I just I rode that one way too many times, and I was like, man, having like some music just chill.
Sorry guys, gonna have to run it back, test it a few more times.
Yeah, exactly. Just didn't get the flow right,
the little theming though, that our team loves to learn more about the project at front hand there. It's like, well, what is the topography there? What's the natural rock? What's the theme there? Our team thrives off that. Creating storyboards and really kind of sparking that inspiration. That's one thing that we absolutely love because we want to feel the same energy as that facility. We want whatever they're really trying to go for and achieve, we want to feel it with them. And so kind of understanding on the front end side just is huge.
Well, you guys have a tough dynamic with having to have the creatives with your company that are also number folk, right? And obviously some of that splits up among people, but getting to keep both of those guys engaged consistently has got to be a fun challenge to meet. And so when you get the opportunity to have and create something that's really cool and at the same time add theming to it and let that creative side really spark.
Well, that's what was cool about Camp Barnabas. Camp Barnabas is you guys brought this and said, hey, this is kind of what we're thinking. And it really it allowed us to stretch the limits. And you pull the inclusivity in that as well as like you stretch the limits.
Yeah.
And so that was a fun one because it just gets everybody's gears turning in that creative spectrum.
From the design team throwing like theming, they're like, hey, this is what they kind of want to do, right? And they'll lose their minds. And that's the fun stuff is like, we're all trying to create stuff for like kids because we are giant kids.
Right.
We're in the industry we're in because we're supposed to be.
That's right.
Yeah. Like that's the thing is also like, you got kids. Like we do this stuff when we think about how our kids are going to interact, right? I've taken my kids, and I know Brian's taken his kids to like CNTs, and we've done them before. I've used my youngest son because he's like lightweight. I'm like, hey, the flow is not right. I need your skinny little body in this raft.
I've done the same thing. Y'all were finishing a project in Rowlett a few years ago. This is probably like 7-8 years ago. And so my kids were like 4 and 6. And we were able to come out to a CNT training. And I think it was, I can't remember if it was Joe, Jimmy and I.
That was back in the Jimmy day, yeah.
And Jimmy came out there and he let my kids get on there and ride it. And like my kids still talk about that to today.
Yeah. Well, and my son, he insists, he's like, Dad, anytime I need to be the first one down the slide. And so I think most of our kids get to be the first one down the slide.
That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
That they get to go to school and talk about.
Right?
That's
I did first ride.
We did marketing videos, and we took I took some of my kids and their friends, and Brian took his daughter, and we rode water slides.
Yeah,
like for the day, and that's what they did. Right. And they were like, got in the car, and I'm talking like, I got high schoolers, I got middle schoolers, I got like, elementary kids, and they were all like jazz, man. They were like having the best day of their life. It was amazing.
That should be the true testament. We would all put our kids down it before we let the public down it.
That's right.
We mean that because we want to create that
Well, we're not just saying that. We literally have done that.
Literally put our kids down it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the fun piece though too. It's also pretty fun. Like
Absolutely.
it's like my thing was like I just watched them like laughing and like that's the stuff that you want to do. Like I did a presentation just this last week and I was looking at it and I'm like, hey, that's my son in that photo. Like I was like, like that's I didn't know he was in this. This is awesome.
Yeah,
like, it's pretty cool. Those are good moments.
It is great.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about the opportunity. You guys also have started to introduce some of the electronics into the industry as well. Yeah. Getting a little bit more with. Do you guys
lights and sound?
Yeah, that's right.
Gotcha.
Kind of an arcade feel almost too to some of the features.
We've got something we're working on that as well. Touch your nose, Robert.
Oh.
Yeah. We the thing is like obviously electricity and water. Some they don't really play nice, so we're trying to work that in as a fine line. The other thing is when we're talking about like with the municipal space specifically, there's a cost to that, right? And you're always asking like a 16-year-old lifeguard to maybe maintain or work that piece.
Yeah,
and that always is kind of a bugaboo, right? It's going to break because little Jimmy's been hitting all the switches. Or my favorite one is you do a big lights and sounds package in an auditorium, and
they use the same setting every time.
No, they decide to plug in their phone to play music, and it completely rewires all the system, the sounds, and now they can't get the because you have a lighting like lightning, and it's supposed to rain and rain cloud effects and all that stuff, and now you got Beyonce's like
if you like it then you should have
rather than
that's a perfect song right there. That's weird that you went there, buddy.
Oh no, why did I know?
What it is, we're always trying to you're trying to bridge that. Electronics are becoming more and more, and I think that knowing what that end use is, like Drew said, municipalities that may not be the greatest thing to put this fancy jukebox system in, knowing that the maintainability of it and having somebody that's going to know what they're doing running it. It's
with with a staff turnover like what they experience.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's staff turnover I think sometimes is maybe the bigger problem, right? Yeah. Like in a true municipal thing, let's say a natatorium, for 1 year I think they had 3 or 4 different aquatic directors come through, right? So the tribal knowledge is gone, right? And so then we're like, all right, let's make a video of like training on how to run these things. And then like, it's like, well, how long has this not been working?
Right.
And it's like, well, it hasn't worked in like 3 months. I'm like,
why is today the day I find out?
Yeah. Like, hey, we could have fixed this.
Well, our manager quit and then the next person quit. And so it's like,
and a lot of times if we were getting into a mechanical room, you'll get somebody that switches from one facility to the other. They don't like this chemical controller versus this one.
Yeah.
And so something that could have been installed a year before when the facility was brand new, we would go back a year later and be like, where are the controllers? Oh, we took those off. We didn't like them.
Bob didn't like them. Yeah.
Bob didn't like them. But hey, now this thing isn't working because we took the chemical controller off. And it's like, because you needed it for multiple things and there was a reason for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do y'all see things like that?
Oh,
you're speaking our language. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like, well, we took that cover off because we didn't know what to do with it, so we just left it off and abandoned it and let water. So it's just
we were wondering where the water went. We needed to take the doghouse off the sea.
Laugh with them because it's like you hate that, but it's like you just wish there was a better answer there.
Sure,
and sometimes that turnover there, and I don't know how they fix that, but it's just it's tricky.
But you even mentioned like chemicals, right? Like they were switching over to like systems. We have it like they were using the wrong things on the slides, or like, hey, we wanted to use it like an acid base to get this ground. Like, what do you mean? Like, no.
Or suddenly a body slide becomes a tube slide unintentionally.
Yeah. It's not good. There's a lot of that going on. So, I think that's the education goes back to, right? Like why we do this, what we're doing this for. Like we always talk about, certain features are a major expense, and I think anytime somebody brings up something specific, drop gate specifically, like that's a big cost. For that. And it's the upfront cost, it's the maintenance cost, it's the upkeep, it's all of those things. So like when we talk about that, like I don't try to not sell anybody something, but I will try to be very upfront and be like, hey, I need you to understand, like right out of the gate, this is what this is going to cost you, and then all the things.
And it's awesome, but plan to have a maintenance program.
Yeah, like
plan to have a service, a preventative maintenance.
Yep. This is always a thing, and like there's things that we would love to see more of, like specifically body slides, but they just don't work very well. And there's so many caveats, like not enough lighting, or the wiring's kind of crap, or like you're just not getting enough water flow, and it just doesn't work the way you want. And it's like hey, I would rather you spend more money and get something that's going to be good and that's going to last, those kind of things. So we always try to educate. We always try to talk them not out of it, but I just really, before they make a decision, I want them to have all the facts.
Sure.
The thing is if you sell something to somebody and it breaks, who are they going to yell at?
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, and I think that
knowing the end user.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's something that we try and be very forthcoming with as well, and say, hey guys, y'all, let us be the first level of defense because we're here. Like, let us go jump. This is a project that we built. Let us go jump in it. And we thankfully have a great relationship with you guys and a partnership to the point that, I mean, even there are times that we'll shoot a picture over and say, hey, this is 3 years old and it doesn't look right.
Happened last week.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? And hey, tell me the address. We'll ship. We're going to take care of it. Again, because we're in the relationship building business, and the last thing that any of us want to think is, hey, Sunbelt didn't take care of us here, Splashtacular didn't take care of us here. And that, as we talked about, with it being such a tight community, and the fact that aquatics people stay aquatics people, we don't want to see long-term degradation of our brand.
Exactly, the reputation of your brand. That's the thing that's the core thing, right? This is why we love working with you guys. Like there's a respect, but there's also, like, again, I'm gonna go back to grown folks doing their job and working together.
That's
right.
it.
It makes it easy. It's like there's a trust there that, like, hey, if something goes wrong, they're gonna handle it. Right? You're going to handle it. Sunbelt's got this. If there's something goes wrong, we would hope that you're like, Splash is going to handle this. Right? They've got this. Right?
And I'm really glad you touched on that too, because that's a big thing that the warranty, we don't do 1 year warranty with so many people because it's relationships.
That's it.
And you genuinely care about that product that you're kicking out. And it's not about that quick sale and transaction. It's about the longevity of it. And you want to make sure these facilities represent your slide and the product and the people that worked on it to the highest level. And so I'm glad you touched on that because it's a big thing for us too. We don't want to turn our head to anything.
No, that's right. And most certainly we don't want to leave a customer dissatisfied at the end of the day. And there are some monetary considerations that sometimes do have to be brought to the forefront and say, look, this is, this is a maintenance item that we can fix it, but also when there's an opportunity for us to jump in and make sure the customer feels taken care of and that customer service level is achieved, it's a win-win for all of us.
Man, maintenance and restoration realistically is the biggest thing that we try to press on people. Right?
Absolutely.
That's a big thing. You're going in there like, you just bought a Lamborghini, right? Let's not slide on across the hood with keys in our back pocket, right?
Right.
Let's take care of this. But the thing is a lot of these facilities, they don't have the staff, right? They're relying on a 16-year-old kid to come down and, like, clean the slides. Right? Like that's a hard thing. So, maintaining your investment becomes a bigger thing. Education, right? Like there's things that you guys can do to keep this looking good. Yeah. Right? There's amazing things that can be done with just like non-chlorinated water. Right? Just spray it down. Like that's a big thing. So again, education.
Yep.
Always. Yeah.
Well, Brian and Drew, we are honored that you are our first guest on the Aquatic Perspective. Thank y'all for joining us.
Here's to 21 years of doing business together, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We've had a great time.
Very
We
much.
appreciate you so much.
Allowing us the opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun with the Aquatic Perspective, taking it on the road down here in Tapatio Springs. We're glad you joined us today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for the time, guys.